Going back to the whole Native American part, like, what would you say or how would you address people who feel like you portrayed Native Americans in a negative way?
I've never had anyone say that I've treated anyone in a negative way. I've been proud to say my entire career. Can I still say that now? No, never in a negative way. A funny way, maybe. No, it was brought to my attention that because of my approach to things, that one of the few apologies to the Native American and the white person, where the white person said, "I apologize to everything I've done to you," was on King of the Hill when Dale and John Redcorn make up, and Redcorn says, "I apologize for everything I've done to you," and Dale apologizes to Redcorn about everything that's happened. So I haven't really gotten any bad flack about it, except on Parks and Recreation, I am throwing oregano and tea on people. But hopefully I did, I'm going to have to explain some of my activities, because I know some people are going to say, well, that was sage you threw on. No, it wasn't. It was oregano. I made sure it wasn't. Oh, really, John? Oh, well, I knew you wouldn't do that. You're right, I won't. So I think I'll be okay. Yes? Yes, ma'am.
How did the late, working with Richard Slocum help you prepare for taking on roles?
He was brutal. He was brutal. I'm sitting right here with a little bit of a gut, and I know if Richard sees it, he's got a gut on him. No, man, we did a thing called The Fifth Son here. It was a story of Oscar Romero, who was the first Archbishop of El Salvador. And I played one of the Aztec gods. I was an Aztec god by the time we got through with that show. I mean, I had to stand on stage in one position for half the show. Couldn't move, could not move. Boy, I'd be sweating. You can't sweat though. Jonathan, you can't sweat. Because you're overweight, that's why you're sweating. After 4 weeks worth of rehearsal, man, I was an Aztec god. So he showed me how a tool can be used when you train it the right way. That and having a small space, great director. I miss his direction a whole lot. Have I called him? No. But definitely miss his direction.
Let's hear from somebody that hasn't asked a question yet. Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. Anything, you can ask anything. My favorite color. Anything. Get the scoop on it. Get the scoop. Get the scoop. What do I have upcoming next? I think I heard someone say. We have an episode of Friday Night Lights coming up for next season. We've got True Grit coming up that you can see me real quickly in the trailer. Very quick. I get hung. I'm in and out of it. But it's a Coen Brothers film. So evidently that's a big deal because everyone asks me, so what's it like working on a Coen Brothers film? I don't know. It's like working for a couple of white dudes that I've never met before. It was that simple, They didn't seem that much, huh? They didn't seem like, they're just little guys you see shopping at the HEB in North Park Mall or whatever. But that's what's coming up next. Very excited about that just because of the names that are in it. What else? What are my plans for San Antonio now that I'm here that you might ask? I want to do some personal ads. I want to represent something here in San Antonio. I'm thinking about doing a car ad. Here at Rick McCombs Ford, we'll make you feel like you're king of the hill. That's right. We'll get you into this Chevy for $0 down for only $295 a month. Tell them, Red Cornets. And the little girls come out dancing.
I really hope that runs.
Or we could do an ad. I'd like to represent something to make change in San Antonio. I'm right now talking to the community colleges right now about, it's not about where you graduate, it's about where you start. Alamo Community Colleges, got me back in because it did. If it wasn't for SAC, I would have never had the balls to come to a bigger school or come and get my degree, because SAC really made me see older people that regretted not getting their education. I was sitting there with, people my age when I was you guys' age going, man, this guy's a loser. I'm going to get my education now. So I just want to get involved in San Antonio, but at the same time, I want to give as much as I want to make money off of San Antonio. You know, you got to make some dough, you know. But I think I can do it in a fun way because I represented San Antonio when I went back to LA. You know, a lot of people didn't think I'd get this far. But I did. The other point is if I get any further, that's a problem. You know, I was in Corpus a couple weekends ago and I had this guy who was an oil rigger. Boy, he just told me how much of a loser I was. You're a loser. You know, King of the Hill's canceled. That's probably only 15 minutes you got. You'll always be a loser. You'll buy your drink. I said, you know what? Yep, you sure can. Yep. By the time it was over, he bought me steak, he bought me shrimp. Who was a loser that night, huh? Okay, next question, please. Anything? Yes, ma'am.
So, do you feel more comfortable being a voice actor or being a scene actor?
Boy, you got some great questions. All these questions you're asking me, I felt this past weekend. Worked for Greg Daniels, who's executive producer of Parks and Recreation, who's also one of the creators of King of the Hill. I got nervous because the lines kind of sounded like John Redcorn, you know, but when you've got a perfect drawn character with a V and everything, it's real simple. I really felt my vulnerabilities come out when I'm on film now because I was very spoiled by voiceover. You know, very lazy. Voiceover makes you lazy. But just, you know, I love doing film. You know, it's just a lot more demanding, you know. Plus people recognize you. Hey, I've seen you before. Me? Yeah, I did a couple times. Yes, ma'am.
I was just thinking, I know you're very happy Native American, but have you ever decided or thought of branching out into other roles? Like I know other, you know, Muslim actors will play Mexican, what do we?
Yeah, I've tried, you know, and then they go, oh, we know you're not. Oh, you mean, you know, it's just, you can't, I'm an actor. I don't want to direct, I don't want to write, I don't want to produce. I'm an actor. I think a lot of times in Hollywood, you get people that want to do everything. You know, I want to, you know what? If I can work 3 or 4 times a year, 5 times a year, I'd be doing great. You know, and there's a lot of great Latino actors out there that have paid their dues. And why step on their toes? You know, I could have went, you know, either way. I decided to go with native roles because the reason I look the part, I feel the part, I act the part. You know, but I'd be happy doing anything. You know, but it's Hollywood. Once you get stereotyped, you know, you're kind of like shot yourself in the foot. All right, I'll shoot myself in the leg too. I don't have a problem with it. Yes, ma'am.
Is there anyone that you see as like a role model or someone that's inspired you besides like
As an actor, as anything, Mother Teresa.
Really?
Yeah, Mother Teresa, man, amazing. You imagine having to do all that stuff and still smile? Wow. Edward James Olmos and Mother Teresa. Yeah, I think they're the same people.
How do you spell that?
Edward James Olmos?
Is it A-L?
That would be
O-L-L.
M-O.
Okay.
Yes. And I tell you why Edward James Olmos. I was on the set one time. It was Dead Man's Walk. And everybody knew that Mr. Olmos was on set. He was sitting there. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's an Indian dude who got a bump, which meant he got more money. And at the last minute, producers came to him and said, dude, you can't. We're not going to give you more money. And the guy was kind of bummed out. And I was like, dude, just tell the producers, man, they gave you a bump, they can't take it away. You know, once you fire the gun, you can't put the bullet back in the gun, okay? Just stand your grounds. The guy's like, no, you know, I want to work. I mean, this guy was busting his ass, riding horses, falling off a horse, really working hard. He deserved a pay increase. And we were talking about it, and out of nowhere, we kind of heard Edward James go, what's the problem? And we came over and, and we told him the whole time. He's like, oh, okay. Calls his assistant over. Tell the producers, my voice could go at any minute. Next day, the guy comes up to me and goes, wow, man, I got the contract. So Edward James wasn't worth talking about, basically. So Edward got him. So Edward James Olmos, man, he's the man. I just saw him on TV the other day too on Something Great.